Hi, this is Al from Carson Siding. How was your week this week? It's been a hot week, huh? Wicked hot. Last week we talked about making Father's Day toolbox. So this is what we're gonna do. I'll go to the cut list over here. The cut list is a 1x8, 30 inches long. Two 1x6s, 31.5 inches long. Two 1x8s, 12 inches long. One 1-inch dowel, but you can only buy it by 4 feet, but we'll cut it what we need it to. And you can use 1 1/4 finished nails, you can use brad nails on a brad gun like we're gonna do, or you can use screws, but they all need to be 1 1/4. This project costs you around 12 bucks. Depends on what kind of material you use. If you use plywood or you use whatever, but we just got pine. We got select pine, which costs a little bit more money. Probably make it a little more cheaper if you went to a cheaper type of pine, but that's all they had down at Collins this week. These are the tools that we're going to use to make the toolbox. You will need glue. We're going to use brad nails, 1 1/4, in my nail gun. Here, you're going to need a 1-inch Forstner bit, or you can use a paddle bit if you don't have one. You're going to need a ruler, a flushing saw, 2 combo squares, smaller one and a bigger one. Rubber mallet, you might need it, you might not, to knock it together. Pencil, a glue brush, and a tape measure. Okay, now we're going to get on to the project, and we're going to let it glue up, and I'm going to show you what we did this week for our samples, okay? So we're just going to move some of the tools over here that we're not going to need right now. I already pre-cut everything to save on time, but I'll show you on a regular board what it will look like. You'll take your combo squares, one's at 5.5. What you will do here is this board will be straight, so you go up 5.5 at the bottom of it with the combo square, and you'll make a mark. And then you'll go over to here on the other side. If you just imagine that it's the board straight, and you will put it here, and you go 2 1/8, and you make a mark. And then once that's all made, you will connect this mark to this mark. You will draw a pencil line, and you do the same. And you will cut it either with a hand saw or with a combo with a saw or a table saw or whatever you have around that you want to do it with. This one I made it for a tighter joint, so I put it on the router table and I date over a 3/4 inch rabbet right here, so it will fit tighter. And I'll show you exactly what we're going to do. This is the bottom, so it's going to sit just like so. Pull this out here. So it's going to sit just like this. This is how it will set. That will be your bottoms, and that will be your sides.
For those that don't understand the word dado and rabbit.
Come look at the right here. You see how this locks in right there? So that's just where I took a 3/4 inch router and I routed that out right there, and that will hold that in tight. You know what I mean? That will hold that in really, really super tight, and then it will, when you glue it, it'll hold it tight. It looks neat, and that's what we're getting at. So we're gonna glue this in, and then we got bar clamps over there, and then we'll go on while it's drying up. We'll show you what we did this week. Put our glue right here. We'll set this one here for now. It'll stay there. And then we'll take the glue over here. That in.
So a fair amount of glue in there?
Fair amount of glue, yep. You know, you want to squeeze out or whatever. So we're going to set that like that, and we're all done with these combo squares because we've already made our ankle cuts. So we're going to put this over here out of our way. We're going to use bar clamps. These are what you call bar clamps.
That's one of your new tools that you got in the past couple weeks.
Yes, I got these over to Harbor Freight there, and I really like them. So you set this like so. Bring that in like so. We're gonna move this just a little. We're gonna. So you just tighten it up like so. Make sure she's all lined up. It's not lining up the way I want it to right now. So. Okay. And we got one more to put on.
Not squeeze too tight, right?
Squeeze tight as you can, you know what I mean? Just
Oh.
make sure you get glue squeeze out, but don't break the wood. But you know, okay, now that'll set for a couple minutes, and we'll show you about some of the stuff that we did this week. Okay, this week I was on vacation this week, and I brought this nice little toolbox for the CT Student of the Year, Greg. Greg got, I don't know if I can pronounce your name right, but Greg McIndaffer. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right. I apologize. But it's got, I put little handles in here, so when Greg's got out there on the job or something, and he wants to put it up and he wants to put something in there. See, I got some CTC little logos you can put in there, and this is how it opens and it shuts. It shuts just like that, and then you get holds it, so he can take it and he can put his tools down here and put whatever he wants in here. Greg's quite the woodworker. He's a very good woodworker, you know, and he's a very, very smart guy, and he is a very good wood burner. And he can do beautiful things with a wood burner. So I never finished it. I never painted it. I never did nothing. I wanted Greg to make it his own. I want him to make it whatever he wants. He might want to wood burn something in the front, or he might want to stain it, or he might want to paint it, or whatever. But I just want him. He's the recipient for Bobby and Andy Scholarship. And Bobby and Andy Farley Scholarship is me and Nick's sons who have passed away. So this is very special to me. So I wanted to make him something very special. So this is what I made for him. Greg, we will get it to you. You can pick it up at the CTC office. You can message me. You can stop by the school. I'm working next week. Whatever you want, and I'll make sure you get it. Okay, this is another box that's kind of cool. This was my great-grandfather's box. He was an engineer on the railroad. My dad was named after him, and I'm named after my dad. But he used to keep the trains going, you know, I don't know, 100 years ago or something, and he toted this toolbox every day.
Can you imagine how heavy that was?
You know, it is very heavy. It's made out of like 1-inch pine, and can you imagine what it would be like filling that full of tools and lugging that every day? Every day.
It must have been very strong.
Yep. So, this was one of the first woodworking projects I ever did. This was what you call a cabinet maker's toolbox. And I seen it on YouTube, and I took a woodworking class at Caribou Tech Center through John Worsley. It was John Worsley's class, and that class we went once a week for 2 hours. And he helped me make this. So, and these, I customized all the tools I had at that time, because I didn't have any power tools. I didn't have any money. I wasn't really into it. So I went with hand tools. And it holds a saw, a Stanley saw, holds a coping saw, you know. This is a dovetail saw. You know, holds a dovetail saw. I bought all these. I bought all the hand tools because they were cheap. If you want to get into woodworking, get into hand tooling. Hand tool is not very expensive. I mean, when you get into like your power saws, it gets more expensive. But it's nice to have power, and I use power more because of my shoulder. But hand tooling for kids or hand tooling for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to invest, it's not very much. I mean, I think this is $14, $20 for a hand saw. Coping saw is probably maybe $8, $10. You know what I mean? You know. And then I made one. These are one of the first ones I made. This is a Paul Sellers dovetail jig. And if you're into hand tooling, Paul Sellers on YouTube is absolutely fabulous. And I made this just by watching that video, and it does work. It works very well.
What's it for?
It's a dovetail jig to cut hand-cut dovetails. So when you put boxes together, like for furniture, you'll see them. They have a dovetail in them. It's hard to explain, but. And this is one of the first jigs that I ever made. This is a center finding jig. If I have a board or something, I could show you here. Over here. Want to find out what the center of this board is? Instead of measuring it, you put this on there like that, put a pencil mark in there, and that's your center. It just takes 2 dowels, a piece of plywood, and a piece in the center. But you make it like that, but you twist it with your pencil in it, and that tells you exactly what the center of that board is. So, we'll walk back here while this is gluing up. And I got some chisels in there, and you know, I got some nail sets, and you know, trim plane, like you want to take the edge off it, you know, makes it look kind of fancy there, you know. I'll put this over here because I will show you how to use this. Then I got my glue right here. What else is in there?
Never can have enough glue, can you, honey?
Can't have enough glue. Never run out of glue. I always buy the glue by the gallon jug because it's much cheaper. And my wife showed me buying screws by the big bucket is much cheaper too. It saves you $50 in the long run if you buy the big thing screw. All right, we'll get to our project. We'll run back to our project here. This should be all glued up now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the nail gun and I'm going to leave the clamps right on it for right now. Because the clamps are holding it. Everything, we're going to set it down just like this. So I'm going to take my brad gun here. And I'll turn it around so you can see. And I'm just going to nail it like this. Okay, now we're going to turn it around. Turn it around like so here, I think. Gonna have to move these out of the way like so, and then we're gonna go. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We'll take our clamps off. Take this clamp off. We're going to flip it on its side. We're going to take the glue and the glue brush, and we're going to go. Put a good amount of glue on it. You can wipe the glue off the excess. If you dampen it in water and wipe it right off, it will come right off when it's wet. Okay, now we're gonna take this board right here. We're gonna put it right on here like so. Just like that. Yep. We'll start in one corner there. And we'll go.
Watch your fingers there.
See if it's. Oops. Okay, so we're gonna go to this corner over here. We're gonna go. Okay, so then we're gonna come around here. See how this is not kind of going in quite right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna fix this right now. Clamps are great for manipulating the wood the way you want it. So we're gonna go like this. And if you look at right there, we're gonna pull that right in until that is flush.
The pine boards are kind of have a tendency to be crooked, right?
No, some of them aren't crooked, but they're just how they go on, you know. You know, they've been sitting in the warehouse or whatever, but we're gonna go. Now we're gonna come over here and look and see how this one is. Okay, so now this one is just like the other ones. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to push it as much as we can off. Push your finger right there, but don't hit your finger. There you go, see? Now we're gonna spin around here, get the back side of it. Do the same thing. Go. Let the air compressor catch up, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Spread the glue all out like so. And we're going to take this one here. We're going to do the same thing. Put this here like so. Bring this down like so. Bring this like so. Just use your fingers to guide things in, you know what I mean? Here, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it here, like so. We're just going to use a clamp, pull it in until where we want it. Perfect, right there. We're going to go. And we'll come right down the back side here. Nails. Okay, we'll flip it back over like so. This is where the Forstner bit comes in. I did it on the drill press, but you should do it before you nail it all together. Before these two are together, see, this Forstner bit will fit right in there, and it'll screw right in. You know what I mean?
Show it again.
This is not the right size Forstner bit, but it fits right in there. The 1-inch Forstner bit's what I use, and that's on the drill press downstairs. But this is what a Forstner bit looks like.
And that attaches to a drill?
It attaches to a drill, yes. I'll show you. Put it right on the drill, like so, and I'll get a piece of scrap and show you. Take a piece of scrap like this. See it? See, it makes a hole like that.
Right.
You keep on going, it'll go straight through. You know, but put a piece of wood underneath it because it'll tear out the backside if you do. You know.
And do it before you obviously attach
Do
it.
it before you make your cut. You know, once you make your cut here, and once you make your cut here, take it down and put it on a drill press or use a drill and put your Forstner bit, 1-inch Forstner bit, and you can use a bigger size, whatever size your dowel is. You know, we use 1-inch dowels, so I use a 1-inch Forstner bit.
Like if it's for a lady, you might want to use a smaller dowel.
Well, it depends on the weight. You know, it depends on how much you're going to put in here. You know,
Well, if it's for a
this-
lady, it's small.
If for a lady, it depends on if she's going to put flowers in it or something. Then, you know, or something like that. So, see,
That goes in.
it can go in quite hard, but you don't want to. You want to twist it because you don't want to break out the centerpiece there. You know.
Let's see.
See how it's coming easier there?
Is that from experience that you broke out this?
Yes, I have. Every mistake I've made, I've made my own. You know. But learn from your mistakes.
Should you have glued that or something? Or?
No. Well, you could if you wanted to, but you really don't need to. Because I'll show you exactly what we're going to do here. Twist and push at the same time.
How come you wouldn't just cut it before? So it wasn't so long.
Because if you cut it before, you might get the wrong measurement. And if you get the wrong measurement, then the dowel's too short. You only have one shot with this. It's 30 inches. This dowel's 48. So you only got one shot, you know, to get it the right measurement. You know what I mean? So, this is how I found works the best. See?
Oh, are you gonna
Take
put
it
it all the way
right,
flush?
take it till it's flush right there. See, that's flush right there. Okay. Now we're going to take this and this. We're going to take the impact, but we're also going to take the drill here. 1 1/4 inch screws.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're going to hold that and you're going to just line it up where you think it should go. Make sure it's in the center. You're going to drill all the way down. See the little hole that makes for the screw hole?
So that's long.
I'm going to twist this around so you can see better. We're going to do the same thing here. Put this like so. Okay, and then we're going to take the other screw. Where'd the other screw go?
Right there, underneath.
Okay, so now we're going to take the other screw. We're going to put it in that same hole like we did before. Okay, now we're going to take a flushing saw, which is this little thing from Harbor Freight. It's a back saw, but it's you put it right here. Put one finger on it like so and just
Sure is a good thing you didn't cut your finger off. That would make for a very bad video.
It's a handsaw.
Huh?
It's a handsaw, man. There
See,
you
I
go.
told you.
Nah,
It looks
man,
bad.
fine. Then you just sand that off and you don't know what's there. Now here's a little trick that we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you what woodworkers do. You see, I'm gonna take a little glue here, and you're gonna put a little glue in there.
Oh, yeah.
Put a little glue in there, and you're gonna take a dowel. You're gonna put a dowel in there.
What size dowel?
I think it's a 3/8. I'm gonna put that in like so.
That's too long.
Just
I know, I'm just messing with you.
take another one, and you can put it in like so. And hammer, a mallet. Take the mallet and you hit it like so. Till the bottom's out. You can feel it bottom out and wipe the glue off there. And that's when you could take a wet rag and wipe that out. So now you gotta let that set up for, I don't know, till it sets up. And then when it sets up, you will take your flushing saw again, and you go and you'll cut it right off.
How long do you need to let it set up?
10 minutes, 15 minutes, or an hour, whatever you want there.
Well, you did it. I think it was.
Yeah, I did it for the video purposes there, though.
Oh,
But you should probably let it set up there, you know.
Why? Because it
I'm
could.
trying to cut it really easy, you know what I mean? So it doesn't.
Like it could pop out. You mean?
Yeah. So then you take that, and that's all done. Okay. You don't see the hole. You can't see the screw. You don't know where the screw is. So then you take a sander and just sand this off, and then you sand this right off here like so. I'll get my extension cord and I'll show you. Maybe.
Well, can't you just use a regular sander?
Okay, here's one right here. Like that. Like that. And on the side right here.
That one you probably have to sand a little more, huh?
No, not too bad. If you cut it close enough, you don't have to. But then what you could do is you could take the power sander out. Like I got this power sander, and what you do is you take all the edges off and sand it all off with 120 grit to make it nice and smooth. But like I showed you, I was going to show you a tool here. This is what you call a trim plane, and this is what it's made for. You go right along like so. You set it any way you want. You just it will take those.
Rough edges off.
Yeah, it'll make it smooth, like, you know what I mean? You go up through like that, and you just keep on going. Like that, you know? So, this is the project for the week. Dad's Toolbox. Father's Day is, I know it's a belated Father's Day, but this is what we made for the project for the week. And what you could use screws, 1 1/4 inch screws, but if you use a countersink bit, you know what we did right here? You could do that all along here and nobody will ever see it. You could stain it, you could paint it, you could wood burn it, you could put tools in it for Dad, you could throw all kinds of stuff in it, or you could use it for decorations, flowers,
Garden
whatever
stuff
you want.
around.
You know, a lot of the ladies like that stuff. You can put garden stuff in it. It's a good thing to just to tote around and to keep your stuff in. I made it this long because I made it for tools, you know what I mean? So you can lug stuff back and forth. And my father had a real small one and he used to lug back and forth the can, so I made him a bigger one, you know what I mean? So, we're going to go on to Tool of the Week from last week. The Tool of the Week from last week it's called a spoke shave. And it's made to make corners, to make round corners and stuff. You have to adjust it to whatever you want there, you know, as you turn it in, you'll see the little blade come out of there and there. You know. you do is you just, I got it up too far. Right? You just want to bring it up just a little bit, just to shave off a little bit. It's when you make rounded edges and stuff like that.
What would you use that for?
For handle, you want to make a handle, you want to round off the edges, like you want to have a handle here, you want it to curve, you know. So it's, it's made for curves and stuff. I haven't used it much, so you can use it this way, you can use it that way, you just have to go with the grain. So that's the tool of the week. You know, I'm running out of time, right? Adjust it a little bit better. So the tool of the week next week. Let's look on the board and see what we got the tool of the week next week is. Okay, I know what the tool of the week next week is. Follow me over here. The tool of the week next week is this. Okay? I told you what it was in the beginning of the video. And if we were paying attention, you'll know what it is for next week. You know? Okay, this is Albert and Nicole from Carson Siding. Everybody have a good week. Have a nice summer, all the students at CTC and all the staff members everywhere. We'll see you next week.